Plaintiff Lydia Davison says the defendant was married to her son, but they divorced after the defendant had several affairs. Lydia is suing because she loaned the defendant money for breast implants and has yet to be repaid. Defendant Jamie Davison denies cheating on Lydia's son and says he left her for a stripper, and he's still with her. Jamie insists the breast implants were a gift because Lydia's son was not happy with her body.
All right, tell me what's going on.
When I first met Jamie, I went in to wake up my son to go to work, and she was in bed with him. So
In your home?
In my home. So I left the room thinking, wow, this is an uncomfortable moment. This girl must get around. And
You didn't have a thought about your son? Disrespecting you? Having a woman overnight in your home without your permission? That never dawned on you?
no.
Wow.
Your Honor,
I'd have had a field day on you if I was your son.
Your Honor, after that,
You let
she
me
left
get away
clothes
with
out
that.
for me when I stayed the night every night after
They
that.
started smoking pot in the house too?
Oh, absolutely
Steal your
not.
money?
Yes, he did.
I know he did a lot to disrespect you, I bet you. If you caught him with a woman in your home, in the bed, without your permission, and all you talk about was her, ooh, I'd have a field day on you. I'd say, Mama, let me do anything. And she won't never blame me. She'll blame the girl.
Yeah.
Always.
Go ahead.
Okay. My assumption was correct. She does get around. She has had multiple affairs while they
How
were
about your
married.
son?
Oh my goodness.
None that I'm aware of.
Oh,
None
really?
that
Like
you're
in
aware of?
07 when he left me? In 09 when he cheated on me with a stripper? That's why we're no longer married?
She don't
And they have a
remember,
baby today?
she don't remember that.
Oh, obviously not. No. She missed that part.
You don't
When they
remember
hired
that?
2 strippers for his bachelor party and your son screwed one of them?
You don't remember that, do you?
Oh, no,
wasn't
of course
there.
not. But she hired them and her husband was there. Her
I
husband
did
was
not
there.
hire them.
Was your husband there?
Yes, he was.
Oh. Never bothered to ask him?
No. Bachelor
That's
parties,
because
you
they don't
ask.
cut the umbilical cord. They're still attached to the hip to this day.
Go ahead. Anything else you want to tell me before
that
I
what it
allow her
may.
to give some background?
Okay. Be that what it may.
They were
Her-
married how long?
5 years.
Why do you believe they broke up?
Well, her family member confirmed her affairs.
I'd like to know which family member this was.
Hold on, ma'am. They were there
Her family member
Was
was,
the-
in the home at the time, yes.
that she was having the affair?
Yes,
You know that?
that's what I've been told.
Oh, you weren't there.
No, sir.
All right. So it's just like your son's situation. You weren't
Absolutely.
there. All right. And let me get some background from you.
Well, I want to give you a little bit of history since I've met the plaintiff's son. In 04 is when we actually met. I met him through his ex-girlfriend in the parking lot. She said, let me give you his number and you guys can meet. Instantly, I gave him a call and I said I was given this number and are you single? And he said yes. He said, what do you look like and what size are your boobs? I described myself and I told him a 34 double D. He instantly said, when can we meet? So we set up a date to go out, hung out every day since. And since then, I've been nothing but harassed by the plaintiff. She kidnapped my son out of my balcony with
No,
her
I did
son.
not.
Yes, she did. They pulled my son out of my balcony and tried to get away in the getaway car. I then ran out, took my son back and called the cops. They ended up leaving because they knew that if they were still there, there'd be a problem. I did not press charges due to the fact that this is my son's grandmother and wanted to let it be. He was traumatized enough being ripped out of his balcony playing with his little dog.
And he wasn't ripped out of the balcony. Jason asked him, do you want to come out, Jace? He said yes and put his hands up for him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Go
sure.
ahead, ma'am. And what other problems have you had with her?
She has called me nonstop, harassing me
About what?
about her son and the situation of me leaving him. Supposedly, I had the affair. But Your Honor, let me tell you, in 07, he left me for another woman and moved in with his mom and dad and told them that I had the affair. When we got back together, I made him tell his mom and dad the actual truth. And they know the truth, that his son actually left because the grass wasn't greener on the other side and came back in.
Were you calling her repeatedly about
sir.
breaking up?
No, their affairs are their own.
Well, why is that the first thing you start talking about is her affair? Anyhow, anything else?
Your
you
Honor,
want?
yes, I would like to add more. In 07, I decided to reconcile due to my son. I did not want his father and I to be split up. August of 2009, I got a phone call while I was at work that he was with another woman at a party saying that he was single and he was no longer married. I confronted him the next day about it. He said, yes, I did. I slept with a stripper who he now is still with, has a son with, and she completely harasses me too.
She's still stripping?
Oh no, she's broken. She had a baby and her boobs aren't the way she wants. So she doesn't look the way she should to be a stripper right now. So
When did she stop stripping?
She stopped when the doctor put her on bed rest last summer.
All right, let's get to the loan. What's the $5,000
Your Honor,
loan you're suing her for?
This could all have been avoided if my son had gone the other way when on the day they went to get their engagement pictures done, they had to stop by a clinic and be treated for STD before they could have their pictures done.
That's funny. I don't recall that.
I do.
All right, so what you meant is you wanted him to go the other way in terms of a woman, not
Correct.
see her, see another woman.
Yes, sir.
As he did.
Yes.
The stripper.
No.
You wanted him to see a stripper instead.
His affairs are his own. As
Well,
far
what
as
are you
that goes.
talking about then? You start off talking about her and him, and then when I challenge what you say to make sense of it, then it goes to his affairs are his own affairs. I don't get involved. You're the one bringing it up. Let's get on to the loan, ma'am.
Okay.
How does she owe you $5,000?
All right. After having my grandson, she was unhappy with her figure. She called and wanted me to help her get a loan so that she could have her breasts redone. She had applied and was denied. So I said I would co-sign with her, and the response from them was no. And I later got a letter that stated that both parties could not be qualified. She asked if there was anything else I could do to help, and I agreed to get a loan that she could use and she would pay me back.
Okay, and how much was it?
It was for $5,500,
And how much has she paid you? this
$1,070.
$1,070?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Is that for one or two?
She does not get involved in their affairs.
She called and wanted me to help her get a loan so that she could have her breasts redone.
And how much has she paid you?
$1,070.
Is that for one or two?
She does not get involved in their affairs.
Defendant Jamie Davison was married to the plaintiff's son, but she claims he left her to be with a stripper.
So she's paid $1,070. How do we come to $5,000? Is that for the interest you had to pay on the loan?
It's the total of the payments that I have made, the balance on the loan, less the payments she has made.
Okay. All right, ma'am, what do you want to tell me about this?
Your Honor, this was completely a gift. I would call her crying because her husband, or my husband at the time, would make fun of me, would make jokes about how flat my boobs looked because I went from a double D to a triple F and they were all the way down here. He was embarrassed of the way I looked and in a bathing suit in front of his friends. So yes, I called her crying because it was her son. And I did not know about this at all till a few days before the fact that they needed my doctor's number.
Hold on. You did not know. What
I
happened?
did-
You woke
I-
up one morning
no.
and saw that your breasts were enlarged.
No, I didn't know.
What are you talking about? You
No,
called
this
the woman.
was since we had our son. He was not happy with the way that my breast looked.
Right. And then you say you were upset, and so you
I was
called
upset
her?
because her son and I would fight about it because he wasn't happy the way I looked. And since his affairs, he wasn't happy.
I got
Obviously,
that part. My point is, last I heard, you called her crying on her shoulder about it, and the next thing you know,
no, it
you
was during the
had-
summer. It was not right then and there.
Okay, well, what happened? How did she get involved in it?
She got involved because her son, which I have a statement from her, saying Todd called and asked me for a loan.
You just told me you called her about
No,
it.
I called her crying because her son
Right.
was embarrassed
okay,
of me.
hold on. So when you called crying, what was that? How did that conversation end?
Me and her always talked.
How did it end?
Okay, how did it end?
Yeah, so you were crying about your
She
breasts.
said, well,
you all
I'm-
didn't always
she
cry
said, well,
about
I'm
your
s-
breasts.
She said, well, I'm sorry. I stay out of your and Todd's business. And that's how it ended. And I said, okay.
And next thing you know, you had
No,
breasts.
it was a couple months later.
You just woke up.
No, I didn't wake up with
Well,
them.
what happened?
What happened was my ex-husband now and her told me that they were going to do it as a gift.
Okay.
And so then on my birthday, they called and paid for it
Okay.
on my birthday.
All right, so it was a gift, plain and simple. Did you ever pay $1,070?
No, Your Honor,
toward it?
I'd never paid this woman a dime
Okay.
for anything.
All right, good enough. Ma'am, she says she's never paid you a dime for anything.
Okay. I have the letter showing from
A letter from whom?
from the credit company when we tried
know
to do
you
our.
got it. And she says
These-
you did it, but she
these are
says it
her
was a
checks
gift. Her
made-
checks to
made-
you?
To me.
Uh-oh.
Those are checks, but Your Honor, her son always borrowed
Ma'am,
money.
You told me you never
that's not
given
it.
her a dime
No, not for that.
anything. You
Those-
said anything. You said anything. You don't remember saying that?
I oversaid what I shouldn't have.
Okay, well, why did you give her the $200 check?
Because her son borrowed money for his Nomex gear and his boots. That she loaned his money to get him because he's a seasonal
You're
fireman.
such a liar. This says surgery
I
in the
didn't-
memo. Judgment for the plaintiff, $5,000. Have a good day.
Really? You wrote that in there. That's very nice. That's wonderful, Lydia.
Sorry it came to this.
I'm sorry that you forged everything. I'm sorry that that letter was by you and your son. I'm really sorry that we're here and that we have my son, your grandson, forever now, and he's going to look back at this due to your mistakes.
No, he's going to look back on this and see how you really are. Had you upheld your part of this, this never would have had to happen.
I didn't
Yes,
do
you
any.
did.
No, I didn't, Lydia. This was a gift from you and your son.
I even have an itemized.
That's why your son is with a stripper now and no longer with me.